You are live, Commissioner. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Cheryl. Welcome, citizens of Douglas County. My name is Kelly Robinson. I am the chair of the Finance Committee. This is the July 18th, 2022 meeting of the Finance Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. We apologize for our delay. We had a pretty long working session meeting this morning. And by the time we got through it, everything associated with that, as well as our executive session, here we are at 3:30. I apologize for the hour and a half delay. Nevertheless, we have a short agenda that we're going to get through pretty quickly. And right now, I want to establish roll call. And so I'm going to go around the room as we normally do, just to codify that I've got a quorum. I, Kelly Robinson, Commissioner of the 2nd District, serve as chair of the committee, and I am here.
Ann Jones-Guyder, vice chair, and I'm present.
Frederick Perry, Deputy County Administrator, present.
Anthony Stewart Stanley, Assistant County Administrator, present.
Rosalind Miller, Finance, present.
All right, we've got 5-0. Everybody's here. Gang's all here. Very good. We may have some supporting members that may be out there, and we'll acknowledge them if we need to at some point. All right, so Director Miller, let's keep this moving. What is our first item of the agenda? Adoption of our meeting minutes. Bring that forward, please.
Well, sir, I did not have a chance to complete the minutes for May, so they will, if I could, have those to you for our next meeting.
Let it be acknowledged that the meeting minutes are not prepared for this meeting. That means that our next meeting will have two, both for May and for June. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Because we're always 1 month in arrears. Okay. All right. So noted. We cannot act on that, so we must go to the next item.
The next item, we have the SPLOST recommendation.
Turn your phones off, guys. All right. So thank you, Director Miller. To the committee members, the Board of Commissioners just had a work session in which the topics were to talk about SPLOST and T-SPLOST. At this point, the will of the board is to only go forth with a SPLOST at this current consideration. We had a marker here for whatever came out at to validate the results of it. So, Director Miller, can you put up the results of what the weightings were for the categories and percentages for the Board of Commissioners? I just want to one more time, for the record, validate that they are accurate, and all we're going to do is send it back to them like a vote. Like, we want to make sure we validate the vote, that nothing changed, and we got this a record. Can you do that, please?
I sure can. And this is the average of the 4 district commissioners, and then Madam Chair.
Right.
For public.
Yep, so you'll read the categories, the amount, and the average weighting, please.
Okay.
The dollar amount. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, for public safety, the dollar amount is $46,920,000. The percentage is 40.80%. The next item is transportation. The dollar amount is $31,970,000. The percent is 27.08%. The next, we have Parks and Recreation, the library. This is $23,460,000. The percent is 20.40%. We have facilities, infrastructure. The total dollar amount is $12,650,000. The percent is 11%. The total is $115 million, and of course the percent is 100.
Thank you for that. So for each of the committee members, you guys were all present at the meeting of the Board of Commissioners work session this morning. Do we concur and acknowledge that these are the correct percentages that were put forth by each of the individual people who weighed in, which means the full Board of Commissioners, and that average weighting is accurate? I concur that is accurate, but I want y'all just to weigh in, just for the record. Is it captured?
Yes, it captures what was discussed in the Board of Commissioners work session.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam Guy.
I concur, Vice Chair. This is Deputy County Administrator.
All right.
Yes, I also concur, Vice Chair Tiffany Stewart Stanley.
All right. So since you recorded, Director Miller, you don't get to weigh in on this because again, we're validating your work. So all we want to do is just get to administrative concurrence. That is good. We don't have to vote. It's just concurrence. And we're going to send this back up to the board tomorrow, saying that we did review this in the Finance Committee, and we're going to keep it moving, whatever the will of the board is going to be. All right. We acknowledge that there would not be a T-SPOS at this moment. That is part of the body of work. We didn't get into that, so we'll just leave that of the record. We acknowledge that we did not discuss it. So if people see our files, they do open record, they'll say, well, what happened to this? Like, well, we just didn't take it up, and they're not required to take it up. All right, that's it on that topic. Director Miller, next, what's up?
Okay, it's for the report. I would like to go over the report for June, and this is we're halfway through
Yes.
in
Thank you.
reviewing the financials. There's nothing. The county is within budget. It's about 1% off, and that is due to timing. It was encumbrances that are for the whole year that has been encumbered. So it's like a total of a year expenditures, but we're only halfway through. But still, it's only 1% over budget. Also, for revenues, you'll see when comparing to 2021, it's about $7 million over. 2022 is $7 million over. You'll find the major increases. 2 million is due to tax, and that's prior year and loss increases. And then other financing sources. Last year, there was a transfer in for ARPA for 3.9, and this was to pay increases in living wage initiative. SPLOST revenue, as you've been hearing, is looking good for this year compared to June, and if you compare it with last year, it's about 7% increase from last year over last year. The expenditures, as I mentioned, we're halfway through. The total is 55.3 million, and the county is trending under budget. Of course, we'll go over our 3 funds, and the first is general fund. And as I mentioned, when looking at the total revenue, it's 7 million over, and again, transfer in, which is ARPA, and then also taxes. Looking at expenditures, you will see the county is when looking at the expenditures, you'll see that the county is about 7.4 million over last year, and again, that is due to the salary increase.
No?
And general fund, as I mentioned, it's 1.04 over budget. The target is again 50% half, but it's a little over 51.04. The next is unincorporated. The revenues are over comparing to last year. Collected is 20.96. Expenditures is under budget by 3.52. Fire protection services. Expenditures are, when comparing to last year, they are over last year. I'm sorry, the revenue is over a lot from last year. They've collected 51.16% of the revenue. The next, for fire, the expenditure You see they're under budget by 2.89. Okay, the next is unincorporated. I mean, not unincorporated, but animal control. I'm sorry. The next is animal control. When looking at total revenue, when you're comparing to last year, you see animal control is about 119,000 over last year, and this is you could see that it's primary in the intergovernmental and the other financing sources, and this has to do with the SDS agreement. And so far, they're at collecting 52% of their revenue. Animal control is under budget by 8%. The next is our loss trend. As you can see, the trends when comparing to last year at this time, it's a total of 1.2 million over last year of 2021 for loss. And the loss the same when comparing last year. It's about $1.8 million over last year for revenue. The next is the SPLOS and the PAYGO as what was discussed this morning at the meeting. And this is the amount of cash in the bank minus net claims, which are checks or any activity within your bank account. The amount that has been encumbered is about $27 million, but 20 million of it is related to transportation, and I believe it was the Lee Road project. So excluding that, the transportation requisition, it's about $7 million in encumbrance, meaning outstanding POs. And again, 20 million of it is Lee Road. Next is contingency. Total expense from the contingency is $338,999. Initial budget was $478 minus the expenditures. The remaining balance is $139,000. Outstanding encumbrance is 36. So the remaining adjusted remaining balance in your contingency is 103, meaning you have $103,000 to spend that's available to be allocated. The health fund is looking well. Expenditures through June, you're at 42.56% of your budget. Again, the target is 50%, so you're a little, about 7% under budget. And that's all I have for June's financials.
Thank you. All right, that was brief. Now that's all we needed. So just as a follow-up, and Madam Guide, I'm going to need your expertise on this. Director Miller, in today's meeting, our tax commissioner, Greg Baker, as well as our head of our tax assessor office, Steve Balfour, brought forth what they believe our growth and our inflation may be. They haven't finalized it, but they just sort of, it's good enough for the sake of the conversation. Can you, for the record, just tell us again what we heard about? Is it about a 5% new growth? And I guess another, I don't know, inflation. I may get it wrong, Madam Guider, but discretionary inflation, which means that it's gonna come in around what I heard, 12 to 15% is all he's willing to proffer until he actually puts it in his writing. What does that mean for the board based on our budget that we adopted? What does that mean? Just on that preliminary, it doesn't bind us. I just want to make for the record that we discussed this. And Madam Guider, please weigh in on what does that mean? Go ahead.
Well, we only have to roll back the reval. And I don't know how much of the reval is out there. We can roll back more, but we have to roll back or say it's a tax increase. The inflation, I have not been on the board since we had inflation like this. I mean, I wasn't even tax commissioner when we had inflation like this. So I think what he's saying is we have a discretion over whether or not to count so much of the inflation. I don't know what it was January 1st of this year because it'd be based on January 1st, but I think it was 8.6, but now it's 9.1. So I don't know whether he is saying that whether we have discretion to roll back, not roll back the inflation amount from the reval. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got it. So they'll clarify that for us. Then you had new growth at 5%. So was there a dollar amount, and you guys validate for us? Was it, what did you say, $7 to $8 million? Was that to the board of commissioners, or that's overall? I didn't get that part, and I couldn't follow it.
Let me see if I can find my notes.
Just for the record, because and so we know that we'll be setting the millage rate next month. So we got time, because again, as we get to the mid-year retreat in the first week of August, I think it's August 3rd. Obviously, that number will be finalized by then, and the board has to now set the millage rate accordingly to cover this year's budget. So I'm just, being a good finance committee that we're getting ahead of it. We know what the future decisions will be made.
New growth, I think, is between 7 and 9 million.
That's just new growth? Wow.
Well, we have $1 trillion, over $1 trillion digest.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know if that includes after he takes out the TAD.
Yes, the TAD.
He adds the TAD back in there. So I don't know. It was not very clear, but we've got two factors that we normally do not have. That's the inflation, discretion, and then the TAD. So
some of the TAD wasn't ready, so that's off the table. So okay, we'll come back to that at some time in the future. But again, this inflation. So to your point, I guess we won't talk about this again until the mid-year retreat, because this is the last meeting of July, and we'll come up. Well, we got a meeting the 1st and 2nd of August, the Board of Commissioners, and then we got our mid-year retreat on the 3rd. So I guess we'll know by then. But I mean, we're talking about $7 to $10 million that we're adding to. What is our current budget? Our adopted budget?
It was 102.
Rosalind,
I have to tell you that.
Yeah, very good.
It was 106.
106, okay.
All right, so 106, and then we're going to add another 7 million. So 113. Okay. And what was the revisit? Go back to my revisit. I'm trying to put things in context. Like that guys, that's a lot. 7 million in new growth, guys, that's a lot. And it's like, ooh. So go back to
the revisit was on sales tax. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the revisit.
Flush.
The revisit at the end of the year. You know how we all say mid-year, we're gonna revisit stuff. And I think the board.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know what you meant.
Yeah. We didn't do too much. We did a few things, and we, in other words, we wait till the end of the year to revisit certain salaries and so forth. But I'm just saying, okay, guys. So now you can be on $7 million more than what we budgeted for. That's my point, right? In other words, you whatever they call it, collection rate was low. You guys came in, he came in at a higher collection rate, and then you got new growth and inflation to the tune of $7 million. I mean, again, that's preliminary. He's not committed to that. That's just us. Like, okay. So as a finance committee, just be thinking about that, guys. Obviously, what do we do with that? Maybe nothing. We know that we did some things that require us to be sure. So, Roz, with $7 million, well, I won't really have to use a TAN, right? We didn't use one, but we're really going to be okay, right, by way of cash flow, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
But Commissioner Robinson, your policy has in the past was not to roll back on the reval. So
I'm with you. I'm not saying roll back. I'm saying
there's a big increase. There'll be a big increase there if you don't roll back.
understood.
Okay.
I'm preparing it by like, okay, right? That's big. That 5% new growth. We've never had that before. And, so anyway, I just want to do it for the record. Let's not belabor this. We've been going long, guys.
We've had 5 and 6% growth. I went back and when you said that,
Yeah.
my folder, yeah, we've had it in the past.
That one time in 07, I remember what's the name, Joyce Smith from University of West Georgia told me, I'm sure, in the decks of like y'all should keep all that. Y'all supposed to take all that. So I again, that was the only time that I recall that we had 5%. But all right, guys, is there anything else we want to add to this conversation? This is it. We're done. We don't have to belabor this. Madam God, we went long. I need to move. Is there anything else you want to add to the closing comments before I close out this meeting?
No, 5 hours of a meeting is enough.
Got it. All
For
right.
one
So
day.
to the county administrators and to the director, Miller, if there's nothing else that needs to come before this finance committee to the full public, and on behalf of the full board of commissioners, let this finance committee meeting of July 18, 2022 come to a close. It is adjourned. Thank you, guys.